Welcome to Multiply or Release Flag Wars. In today's match, Canada, United States, Mexico and Cuba are battling for total grid domination. Cuba picks up fortifying. Their cells are reinforced and can take another hit before switching sides. That's the multiply zone, so when a ball lands on it, the player's bullet count doubles. This will be an exciting matchup. I can already feel it. Since the players are just warming up and collecting power-ups, let me tell you about the new power-ups you will see in this game. The first one you can already see in play. Cuba picked up reinforcements, those little dots on their cells. Next up you will see a star power-up, that is, invincibility. All cells currently controlled by that flag will be invincible for 30 seconds. Watch out though, because invincibility does not apply to turrets. The last new power-up is the spread. This will grant each gun on a turret additional bullet fired in a random direction. Up to 3 bullets per gun, making it ideal for overwhelming your enemies. Let's see the current state of the match. Canada in the lead at 35%, then Cuba at 24%, Mexico 20%, and the USA at 19%. USA already picked up an additional gun and started firing 2,000 bullets. This will put them in an early lead for sure. I saw you guys are enjoying the commentary. That's very nice to see. I have some more Flag Wars related content coming up, so stay tuned and subscribe. Mexico is fortifying their cells. After that volley, United States climbed to 30% and that puts them in the lead. United States is fortifying their cells. 3 contestants are already using the new power-ups. Fun fact about the United States, it is the only country to have landed astronauts on the moon, starting with Apollo 11 in 1969. Canada grabs a stash of bullets. Canada goes for the release of 2,000 bullets. Against the reinforced cells of their enemies, it will take a long time to take over territory. Speaking of Canada, Canada has more lakes than any other country, with around 20% of the planet's fresh water. Let's give Mexico and Cuba some love with their fun facts. The Mexican flag carries the legendary eagle perched on a cactus devouring a serpent, the founding sign of Tenochtitlan. Cuba is one of the few places on Earth where vintage American cars from the 1950s still cruise the streets every day. The United States grabs a stash of bullets and multiplies up to 10,000 bullets. Now, they're going for another multiply, for 20,000 bullets. The United States is preparing a mass of bullets, so let's see how much they can gather before hitting release. Here it comes. The United States unleashes 40,000 bullets after that buildup. Another USA fun fact, the bald eagle has been the national symbol of the United States for over 200 years. USA, with their 3 guns and 40,000 bullets, will be the first candidate for the winner. Let's see how other countries deal with that behemoth. Last USA fun fact, the Library of Congress in Washington is the largest library in the world, holding more than 170 million items. Canada collected 10,000 bullets and went for the release. They have only 1 gun, but have collected 1 spread power-up. This will slow down USA taking over their territory. Mexico multiplies up to 12,000 bullets. Mexico unloads with 12,000 bullets coming through. Ancient Mexico gave the world chocolate, the chili pepper, and the modern tomato. United States leads with 47% of the map. United States leads with half of the map. Cuba is fighting for their life against Mexico and USA. This will help them. 5,000 bullets coming out for Cuba. The Cuban flag carries 3 blue stripes for the original provinces, 2 white stripes for purity and integrity, and a red triangle for the bloodshed of independence. All of the countries are firing, the power-ups are still appearing. The first one to stop firing will have a great chance to pick them up and set themselves up for the win. While we are waiting for them to stop firing, let's have some more fun facts. Fun fact about Canada: it's the second largest country in the world by total area. Fun fact about Mexico: it's home to over 30 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the most in all of the Americas. Fun fact about Cuba: it's the largest island in the Caribbean. The Canadian flag carries the iconic red maple leaf at its center, flanked by 2 red bars. Looks like Cuba will be the first one to stop firing and collect the power-ups. Cuba clawed back to 15%, which is just enough to stay in the fight. Canada goes invincible, and nothing gets through for 30 seconds. There we go. Cuba is ready to explode with their 40,000 bullets. Oh, Cuba goes for another multiply now for 80,000 bullets. And another multiply. Cuba is preparing a massive storm. Will it be enough to overwhelm their enemies and grant them a win? USA is currently leading with 45% of the map, but not for long. Cuba is rapidly gaining territory. They just shot their 10,000th bullet, and more are coming, with their 3 guns and 1 spread upgrade, that is 6 bullets per tick. Cuba climbed to 45% of the map. I can see them winning this, but there is still time for Canada, Mexico, and USA to make a comeback. Cuba leads with 54% of the map. Mexico is hanging on at just 5% of the map. Cuba is in command with 60% of the map already. Mexico just took damage. Each bullet takes 10 health points from the turret. If it reaches 0, the last stand is activated, spawning a surge of bullets to stay in the fight a little longer. Cuba is in command with 70% of the map already. It doesn't look good for Mexico. They will probably activate their last stand first. Let's see if they can collect enough power-ups to stay in the game. Cuba is relentless. Surely they will win. Canada just stopped firing. Let's see what they will collect. O spread, additional gun, and they go for invincibility. This might be the comeback. They're still on the power-up trip, going for reinforcement and a double stash of bullets. Canada with 80,000 bullets and still counting. With their 2 guns and 2 spread upgrades, they can shoot 6 bullets in the same tick, same as Mexico. That's Last Stand, where every turret gets 1 free escape from death, with a burst of bullets and brief invincibility. Mexico's Last Stand fires. Here it comes. Canada unleashes 400,000 bullets after that build-up. United States grabs a burst for an instant blast of bullets. What a comeback from Canada, who is down to nothing and is back in the fight. Cuba is in command with 53% of the map already. USA, wake up. You're under attack. Oh no, this is a disaster for the USA. United States' Last Stand fires. If the States can pick up that invincibility, I can see them staying in the fight. Mexico and USA are caught between the battle of 2 giants, Canada and Cuba. This is exciting. United States pops off with 1,000 bullets. Canada is hoarding the power-ups with 27 big ups already. After all that, the United States still trails with only 5%. United States goes invincible, and nothing gets through for 30 seconds. Unfortunately, the turret is still under attack. That little gap in the defense might just be the end of USA. United States is out. All of the power-ups from USA went over to Cuba. Now, with 6 guns and spread upgrades, Canada is in big trouble. Cuba is in for the win, unless some miracle happens. Mexico is hanging on at just 1% of the map. Cuba is on the brink at 95% and closing in. Mexico is out. There is still a slim chance for Canada to withstand the bullets, but with the 10 health of bullet damage, their health is draining quickly. Canada health is draining too quickly. They won't have enough to wait out Cuba. Canada's last stand fires. Canada is out.